What is up, my people, my squad? What is up, everybody? I got a story time today, and we got another crops delivery in today, and I couldn't not buy it. I'd reviewed it before. I couldn't say no to Peyton's Pie by Crops. I paid money for this, and we got a sample of the Jealousy Thin Mints 93 BOYZ carts. And these are a brand new brand called Smokies. We'll get into that as well. And I wanted to show you something cool. One of the bud tenders, one of my boy Coley got me. It's pretty dope. It's a triple joint holder. We're gonna test this motherfucker out one of these days. It's gonna be dope. But today we've got the Peyton's Pie by Crops, and we're gonna do a little story time today. I got a call today from one of my my cousins, or I call her my aunt, but she's technically my not my cousin, but whatever. It's some Indian type shit. When you grow up with people, they're kind of family, but we don't really call them family. When you come from when you're first generation, your family has to make like a family here because all their families back in India. So we like kind of grew up in the same house together for years. Like we lived together. Anyway, if you only want to see, I'm going to get into the story time, but if you only want to see close-ups of the buds and don't want to hear my mouth, I'm going to leave a link below in the description. We'll get into the story time later, but it has to do with my little cousin getting caught with cocaine and me having to fuck him up, and we'll get into that. It's an interesting story, but let's get into the Peyton's Pie by Crops. And if you guys don't know what Peyton's Pie is, by the way, it's a cross between Georgia Pie and Gary Payton. That is fucking crazy. Georgia Pie is a cross between Cushman's and Gelati. Gary Payton is a cross between the Snowman and Wildlife, I think, and the Y, or Snowman and the Y, or something like that. And this is not only in my opinion, one of the biggest sleeper brands in Illinois. I think nowadays Crops is getting a little bit more attention, and people are starting to realize that this is a fucking top of the line brand in Illinois. They sell for $50 an eighth. However, this is top shelf from my experience. Not too many brands, from my experience, they conserve their terpene taste of their smell of their profile of their flower better than anybody. Like their Donnie Burger, incredible. Lime OG, one of my favorite strains of all time. Anyway, let's get into the Peyton's Pie. Testing at 24.45. It was packaged on 5/7. It is 6/11. I got an argument with my boss today, guys. It was a whole shit show. We're arguing over an eighth of Purple Punch missing. That's what we're arguing about. It's a fucking, how crazy is that? That we're arguing over an eighth of fucking weed missing at work, and that's my job at the end of the day. We're literally, because we had, what ended up happening is a few days ago, we were short an eighth of Purple Punch and an eighth of Great, and wow, as soon as I cracked the jar open, that fucking cookie smell from the Georgia Pie just comes screaming out. Look at how gorgeous it is. It's always just one big ass nug with Crops too, is what I've noticed. Look at how fat this fucking nug is. Bud structure is absolutely incredible. Look at the fuzz on the bottom of this. So much color. And as soon as I cracked that jar, there's literally just screamed at me. I was in the middle of a story and I had to stop because it just screamed right at me. And look at how the definition of the nug as well. And by the way, if you don't know who the fuck I am the certified smoker. If you buy weed literally anywhere, especially in fucking Illinois, and are not subscribed, join the fucking squad. Use me as a tool. Let me waste my money before you waste yours. And let's get into this fucking Peyton's pie. Look at the definition. Look at the fuzz and the frost on this nug. And how the stem is just pretty much non-existent. It's just a big ball of bud. That's how you know also the genetics are really high on point when they breed out the stems. See how it's just little, like, feels like, just looks like just one big fat ball of nug? You couldn't even see where the stem is until I move it around and move it to the other side. Normally, back in the day, you would not see buds like this that are just this fat. This just really, really up-to-date genetics is what this is. And another thing, what I mean by definition is you see that bump right there? That's what I mean by definition. It actually has some character and structure. Look at the colors though. See the purple in here? It's a lot of purple, a good amount of orange hairs, not so much where it just overwhelms the whole bud, which I hate when that happens. But what are you guys smoking on, squad? And if you don't know how I grade my weed out here in Chicagoland, the lowest grade is Garbaggio, which means take that fucking shit, throw it in the fucking Garbaggio and get that shit out of here. Then we got that smokable weed, and then we got that certified smoke. You could definitely, let me see the terpenes in here. I smell limonene, linalool for sure. Let's see if they even show them on here. Do they even say? See, that's the thing that bugs me about crops. They don't have the terpene profile on here. Total cannabinoids 25.30, and it just says the harvest date and the package date. But I definitely smell that floral, a little heavy floral taste, and you could definitely smell that citrus taste. And that cookies smell comes out tremendously from that Georgia pie cross there's a lot of cookies in Georgia pie from my experience, and it's really coming out. See how fuzzy even the stem is on the bottom? Very incredible buds. But let's get into the story time, squad, about my little cousin. Or at the end of the day, she calls me because there's no man around there. Well, there's nobody else around, and no man that's gonna do shit to her. And whenever she says something to her, he just feeds her whatever she wants to hear until she leaves him alone. Oh, I promise to stop. I promise to get drug tested. Blah 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 blah. This has been going on forever, and then promises to go to meetings. Blah blah blah. And then when he when he asks for a test, when we ask for a test. Wow, as soon as I break the nug, that's another thing. When you break these nugs up, this is one of those brands where you just always are just putting it to your nose and just smelling the nugs. The terpene profiles on this is just incredible. On every strain, from my experience from crops lately, their terpenes have just been popping. They have a new grower and a new salesperson who does their sales. It used to be a girl named Kelly for Justice Grown, and now it's somebody else. It's a dude who's the head grower, and it's fucking fire, whatever he did. He's the new head grower too. But let's do the stick test, give this shit some scores, and then most of all, let's smoke this shit. And let's get into a story time as well. Here's my point though. Yeah, it didn't stick that well here, but it was sticky though. That's the thing. The stick test was compromised because it sticks to both of my fingers. See that? So then it pulls it off. So you can't really get a good stick test on this one. It's almost too sticky for a fucking stick test. Isn't that crazy? But actually the way to do a stick test is just by smashing it down and lifting it. That's what I'm going to start doing. Not putting it in between two fingers. That's the move, I think, squad. Anyway, here's what it comes down to. So he tells her anything she wants to hear until he leaves her alone, and then eventually a few months later, he'll get caught again. But now it's getting really bad, where it's almost. She said that she found said that she thinks he was doing coke after playing basketball during the daytime. That's fucking crazy for a young person to be doing. And if she confronts him, all he's gonna do is lie to her. And he said that he's gonna still test positive if he takes a test, because he said that he did coke 3 weeks ago at a wedding, so he'll still test positive. However, here's what it comes down to. I think what it comes down with drugs, it's different. However, what people understand at the end of the day is violence. And hear me out, though, guys. I think if every time this every time this kid did coke, the mom is not going to be able to do anything if she just keeps with, especially with a young man that she's raising. She can't really do anything because all she could do is ground him and do stuff like that and take his video games away, scream at him. Nothing that's really going to send the message. However, when there's a man around that every time he does coke, get caught with coke and beats the shit out of him or just smacks him around a little bit, sends the message, scares him a little bit. I think it's very important to have men around. What people understand is at the end of the day, when all is said and done, people understand violence. I'll explain to you what I mean by that too. But let's get into the bud at the end of the day. We got, we're going to give this stuff a bud structure score. Literally, it's absolutely incredible looking. I can't say one thing bad about this bud. It's got everything going for it. The smell is on point. The color is on point. The trim job is on point. The curing process is on point. The bud structure is, I'm going to give this stuff a 9.7 on bud structure. It doesn't get much better bud structure wise. I can't lie. The trichome coverage goes throughout the whole nug, isn't just on the surface. I'm gonna give it a smell score of 9.7 as well, guys. It's one of those strains, I'm telling you guys. You just hold it to your nose when you break up the nugs. It's that strong of a smell. Very high in limonene, which is the top terpene in citrus, and very high in another terpene called linalool, which is the top terpene in like lilac and lavender, what gives it a floral taste. It's definitely an indica leaning hybrid, but let's see what's really fucking to it. The certified smoker. We got Peyton's Pie by the most underrated brand in Illinois. It's literally screaming at me. All right, I'll smoke it. Let's do it. Oh shit, it's smooth too. Big ass head. Wow. Straight to the fucking dome. That was a fatty head. What the fuck? Instantly high. Definitely indica leaning hybrid for sure. Very, very tasty too. The taste correlates really well with the smell as well. I'm gonna give this stuff not as strong as the smell compared to the taste, where I just took a huge hit. It literally went right to my head. I was so busy at work today. I was looking for that eighth of purple punch all day long. We finally found the eighth of purple punch, but then ended up down. What ended up happening was somebody rang out an eighth of great hata instead of an eighth of great purple punch. But the great hata inventory was still on. So now I'm off an eighth of great hata, which is a pain in the ass. However, let's give this stuff a taste score. I think it smells a little bit better than it tastes. I'm going to give it a taste score of 9.1. I'm going to give it an effect score of an overall score. Let's go 9.5 overall. Hella certified strain. The certified smoker. Peyton's Pie is on the money. Close-ups are below. Alright, let me get back into the story time. So at the end of the day, hear me out. The reason anybody does anything, the reason anybody pretty much pays their bills, pretty much, okay, fine, hear me out. The reason you pay your mortgage, pay your rent, is because of violence at the end of the day. However, we're so far removed from it because we're more of a civilized culture. But hear me out though. Let's say the reason you pay your rent at the end of if you bear down to it, is not because you want your landlord to get paid and you want to be fair. It's because if you don't pay, or the reason, maybe not you particularly, but people on a whole scale, they the reason people pay is because at the end of the day there'll be violence at the end. So what will happen is you'll get let's say you don't have a light, you don't pay a ticket, okay? You don't pay your tickets because at the end of the day it's violence. Hear me out. Okay, so you don't pay one of your tickets, you'll just get a warning, right? You'll get a warning. Let's say you don't pay the warning, you'll get another ticket saying what the fuck, and your prices will just keep going up and up and up and up, and then you'll just keep getting tickets and piling them up. And what eventually will happen is, so pretty much this is them saying every time they give you another ticket, they're saying, keep fucking around, keep fucking around, keep fucking around. Then you get another ticket, you go to court, the judge says, hey, if you don't pay, I'm gonna pull your license. And then you say, and then you're like, okay, you still don't pay, and you keep driving, right? Then, okay, there's still no violence at this point, right? But there's still, this is just because we're in a high civilized society. So now they told you we're not fucking around. The judge told you I'm not fucking around. And then, so then the next time you get pulled over, you get another ticket, you go to court, the judge says, okay, you know what? Take your license away. All right, your license is taken away. Okay, and then you just still keep driving, right? And then what ends up happening is you get pulled over, you get physically, violently taken and thrown in the back of a cop car and thrown and taken to jail and then physically taken in front of the judge. At the end of the day, it all ends in violence. Same thing with your mortgage, okay, right? You don't pay your mortgage, you don't pay your rent, you're gonna just get a letter from your a call from your landlord saying, dude, where's the rent, blah, blah, blah. In other words, we're in a civilized society. It's a soft form of saying, keep fucking around, dude, keep fucking around. And then after that, you still don't pay your rent, right? What ends up happening? You go to, the landlord files for eviction. Then what ends up happening? You still say, fuck you, I'm not leaving, right? I'm not leaving, fuck that. What ends up happening? Somebody physically comes and violently removes you from the home. So at the end of the day, it's all violence that people understand. And especially when it comes to, my whole point behind this is especially when it comes to young men, that when there's no men, that older men living in the household to check them physically, it's very important I think it's very important for a young man's development to be physically checked. Either like if you play football, grew up playing football or sports, that shit happens at a very young age, if you're playing contact sports. But however, nowadays, with everyone growing up on the computer, people just are not aware of being physically dominated and how you will get fucked up. So it's just creating a generation of kids that are just pushing authority, doing whatever the fuck they want, doing coke at 17 and just telling your mom to fuck off. That's crazy shit. Anyway, jealousy, thin mints. Am I crazy, guys? Is that too young, or am I tripping? Or is that normal? You guys leave it in the comments. Were you guys doing coke at 17? I think it's crazy. Anyway, jealousy, thin mints. 93 BOYZ. 93 BOYZ is a company out of Chicago. Here's what it says on the side. For the block, portions of every puff donated back to the community. And it's the head of the company is a guy named Vic Menza, is the face of the company, at least. He's a rapper. And pretty much, yeah. And so, yeah, that's a fucking... What else do I got? Like, at the end of the day, yeah. So, and it's very important, I think, that people, that a young man has a man in his life to fuck him up or put him in check every once in a while. And nowadays, you can't even put your kid in check nowadays. You'll end up, you can't even like, I heard you can't even smack your kid. I don't have kids, so I don't know. This is a 1 gram cart, by the way. It's a distillate cart. It's called Jealousy Thin Mints. It is a cross between Jealousy and Thin Mints. Thin Mints, by the way, is Girl Scout cookies. They got sued, so they had to rename it Thin Mints. Anyway, this is a full gram cart. Distillate. Look at how clear it is. Distillate, I told you guys, is the lowest form of concentrate, in my opinion. It's made from the trim, not from the buds. So when there's a whole bunch of bud, right? Let's have a bunch of weed, me and you. Let's say I have a whole bunch of Payton's pie. I trim it, right? Make it look all good so I can sell it to me with a fat nug in it that looks beautiful for $50 an eighth. But then leftover, I have a whole pile of trim. I can't sell it like that, right? Let's put it in the fucking cart. Let's put it in the gummies. No one's gonna know, right? Or let's roll it in a pre-roll. No one sees it unless you're the certified, unless you tune into one of the What the Fuck is Insides and one of my What the Fuck is Insides where we cut open the joints. Anyway, let's taste this Jealousy Thin Mints by 93 BOYZ, distributed by Rise. Let's see what's to it. Wow. You could definitely taste terpenes in here, but it's still, you can still tell it's distillate. It's probably better than normal distillate, but it still seems not my favorite. But I'm gonna say, let me taste it one more time. These are like probably, I don't even know, don't quote me on this, I'm guessing 90 a gram. No, yeah, probably around 90 a gram because they're like 50 a half gram. So yeah, I'm gonna guess they're like 85, 90 a gram. So I'm gonna say for a full gram of this, $85. I don't know if I could say that that's worth it for you guys. I should say there's better carts out there. I would say rather get a half gram of like a Dabstract cart by Bedford Grow. Those are top shelf carts, by the way. Dabstract carts by Bedford Grow. If you guys haven't tried those yet, and you guys are cart people, those are the best carts in the market, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to say this is smokable, but I'm not going to certify it. And it's in the middle. But now we're going to go to the Jamboree. This fucking new brand is called Smokies. It is, I think this is our first delivery by them. They have two different kinds. They have a sour and a sweet kind. And it's from a company called CNS. And the thing about this company, the drivers are cool as fuck, by the way. I met him, the owner of the company that drives with them, by the way, the delivery. He delivers it by himself. They are such an, actually no, they're not that new. The owner was the owner of, what's that? Midway. He sold his dispensary to Midway Ascend, I think it is. Yeah, he sold his dispensary. So he owned a dispensary. Now he started a gummies brand with Dr. C. Do you guys know who Dr. C is? If you guys are a medical patient in Illinois, there's a good chance. I think I got my license, my medical card from a Dr. C. He is a I forgot. He's like Dr. something, but his first name starts with, his last name starts with a C, and he's his Brazilian guy, and he fucking last year in Illinois wrote 50,000 prescriptions for medical cannabis. 50,000. So he has a lot of power in the industry, because he pretty much supplies the industry with a lot of customers, you know what I'm saying? So he has a lot of power, so he has the ability, so for, like, I don't know how, but for some reason, like, out of all the gummies out there, this brand got on our shelves, like, because we have a really small vault right now at work, because we're in a temporary building, so this guy must have a lot of power. Anyway, we got Smokies edibles. They're the cannabis infused jamboree fruit chews. So they are CBN and THC. And if you guys don't know what CBN is, it stands for cannabinol. It's when THC degrades pretty much. It turns into a another cannabinoid, which gives you, like, if you smoke shitty weed back in the day, there's a feeling you get. It's called swag. We used to call it shitty weed back in the swag in Illinois, at least in Chicagoland, and in the early 2000s, late 90s, and then we used to call it swag. So when you'd have shitty weed, we'd call it swagified, and that means you get this really sleepy feeling. And that's because it's really high in CBN, because it's just shitty weed. It's degraded, it's brown, it's just disgusting. Most of it used to come from Mexico with seeds, and it was just disgusting. And also, yeah, Mexico pretty much. And then what we would do is, so that what this is, what CBN is pretty much, is that. So they're putting that in the gummies, which I think is kind of, so from my experience from eating CBN, I wake up with like a droggy hangover feeling, but it will make you tired. It'll make you schwagified at the end of the day. Is what the feeling that I get, that I remember from being schwagified, is similar to the feeling when I eat a bunch of CBN. Anyway, let's see what's to this jamboree. Jamberry. I don't even know what the hell that means. Jamberry fruit. Have you guys ever heard of a jamberry fruit? And it's a fruit chew. I don't think that means it's a gummy. Let's find out the texture of this thing. Let's see what this thing's all about. I'm not a big edible person. I don't know if you guys are. I don't think 30% of all humans can't dissolve edibles through the liver. There's an article that I just saw the other day that, yeah, that's the truth. 30% of all humans can't dissolve. I think I'm definitely one of those 30%. Because I do not get high. I just feel really shitty. I get uncontrollable hunger and want to fall asleep. And I have to eat a whole shitload of it. And why can't I open this fucking bag, squad? Oh shit. Oh shit. We got it? No, we don't. Let's see. Okay. Alright. So, what do you guys think about that, though? What do you guys think about my violence theory? Am I out of my fucking mind with this shit? Or what do you guys think? At the end of the day, when it all is said and done, the reason the fucking society functions, the reason people pay their bills, the reason people pay their taxes is violence at the end of the day. It's the only reason. And pretty much, since in all the warnings and like late fees is pretty much just saying keep fucking around. It's just another way of saying keep fucking around. And then if you just keep fucking around, you're gonna find out is what happens. And that's what I think has a lot to do with society running. But anyway, we got these fruit chews here. Look at the texture of them. They have like what the fuck is this? Powder sugar, and it's flat. And on the edge, it looks pretty. It doesn't look machine made, that's for sure. Let's see. See if this is a gummy. This looks like a fucking gummy, but it isn't. It is a gummy, but it has a different type of texture. It's not sour. It's sweet. How many 200 milligrams? How many cannabinoids are in here? It's a 1-to-1 CBN to THC, so it's 100 milligrams of CBN and 100 milligrams of THC. I don't want to swallow it. That's how much I eat edibles, squad. Is that weird? That I don't even want to fucking swallow them? Even one? If you guys want edibles and you're part of the squad, these they're yours. Hit me up in the comments. I have so many samples of edibles that I couldn't even know what the hell to do with. And I want to do a giveaway, so if anybody is ever out of weed or doesn't have any carts or is willing to, is ever out, anybody in the squad is ever out and needs to get high, call me, or we'll figure it out. Anyway, you guys know who the fuck I am. The Certified Smoker. See you guys tomorrow. And long ramble today. Sorry, squad. It's all good though, right? We're here. Peace the fuck out. See you guys tomorrow.